It's the perfect Sunday for all-star pitchers, young and old. Matt Harvey on the mound, Doc Gooden in the building. Why? Well, it's Dwight Gooden bobblehead day. Big day of pitching on tap as Harvey makes his first start of the second half. At Citi Field in New York, Pix 11 Sports presents New York Mets baseball. Today the Mets play the Philadelphia Phillies. And a pleasant good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Citi Field. Gary Cohen, Ron Darling with you as the Mets play the rubber game of their three-game series against the Phillies. Last time Matt Harvey and Cliff Lee took them out here at Citi Field, it was Tuesday night for the All-Star game. Now the two All-Stars go head-to-head on a beautiful Sunday afternoon.
Well, what a whirlwind for Matt Harvey when you think about it. All-Star game on Tuesday was pushed back from his start on Saturday, so this will be his first start in a Met uniform in quite some time. Last 29 starts, or his only 29 starts, he's won 10 games, 7-2 in the first half, and that was his last start. And on the other side, you've got Cliff Lee, who after a disappointing year last year in terms of one-loss record, is pitching maybe better than he ever has. Well, only CC Sabathia, Roy Halladay, and Justin Verlander have won more games than Cliff Lee in the last 10 years. He's had an amazing year so far with those 10 wins, 135 in his career, including 12 shutouts. Now, both of these pitchers have had extraordinary success against the opposition. Harvey's made 4 starts against the Phillies, been impeccable in all 4. The Mets have never done much against Cliff Lee. When you're going against an ace like this on the other side, what's your attitude taking them out? Well, I think when your attitude, when you pitch against Lee against Harvey, Harvey against Lee, you're thinking from the get-go, not shutout, but you got to think, I can't give up more than 1 or 2 runs, and you're hoping that your guys can give you enough offense. But it's one of those rare games that you're not only battling the other 8 position players, but also battling the other starting pitcher. So it's all in line today. Doc's bobblehead, Harvey and Lee on the mound. All the action coming your way. Mets and Phillies from Citi Field. Buy Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit geico.com. And by Lexus, the Golden Opportunity Sales Event is here.
MLB.com At Bat is celebrating 5 years as your #1 mobile app for live baseball. Available for iPhone, iPad, Android, and BlackBerry 10. At Bat delivers Mets baseball with live audio, stats, highlights, and more. Text At Bat to 31826 or visit Mets.com for details. Keys to the game brought to you by Jaguar. See the new model year lineup at JaguarUSA.com.
Well, he had the one tough start where he gave up the big home run, of course, the 3-run home run to Arizona, and Harvey struggled there, and July's got to get better. Of course, stopper Cliff Lee's been unbelievable after Philly's losses, and the comfort zone. How about those numbers for John Buck against Cliff Lee? As good as any in baseball.
Matt Harvey makes his way in, getting ready for his 30th career start on a much cooler afternoon in New York. Perfect day for baseball. Harvey and Lee, first pitch coming right up. Profile grows every day. And today Matt Harvey makes his first start of the second half. Hasn't won in his last 9 starts here at Citi Field, and that's little of his own making. It's been mostly a lack of support. Sunday afternoon, kids on the field getting ready for their heroes to take the field with them.
Every time I see that super slow-mo of the follow-through of Harvey, I know why my arm hurts every single day when I get up. I mean, the torque he puts on that elbow, amazing. I like what they do. They do this around a lot of ballparks. They bring the kids out, put them at every position. Player comes out, probably signs an autograph for him, and they run in. So a chance for dads and their sons to be out in the field.
And the heroes approach.
David Wright gets 2, of course. Probably be 100.
Can you imagine if you'd been able to go out on the field and shake hands with Rico Petrocelli when you were a kid?
I wouldn't have been able to make it out there. I would have been too nervous. I wouldn't know what to say. I would have humana, humana, humana.
I think Matt's ready to go to work.
Yeah, there wasn't quite a shoe there, but close to it.
Nice to meet you, kid. Time to work. Starting lineups brought to you by your Tri Honda dealer. Couple of changes for Charlie Manuel today. He'll start Kevin Franzen at first base rather than Darren Ruff. Eric Kratz gets the start behind the plate for the struggling Carlos Ruiz. And that's the lineup that Matt Harvey will face, his third start against the Phillies this year.
Well, it's going to be interesting to watch Harvey go up against this Philadelphia Phillies team. If you remember the last start he had in Philadelphia, first pitch of the game, Jimmy Rollins, who led off yesterday, remember, with a home run. He threw a first pitch curveball for a strike and startled that entire Phillies bench.
And remember, he was as dominant in that game as he has been in any game this year. Was only able to go 6 innings because of a rain delay, but he was absolutely in throttle mode against the Phillies in that last start against them.
Well, here's the look at the defense brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Young, Laris, and Bird probably given their speediest outfield. Wright, Quintanilla, Murphy, Satin at first base. This is his 18th start at first base. Sorry, 16th start at first. And John Buck has caught every Matt Harvey start this year. It's interesting to see Josh. I was trying to look for him this morning to ask him about that play in the ninth that turned out to be an important play. I didn't, and I'll talk to him later about it. But, you know, that little turn, the Mets practice that play before the game with Fungos when they want their first baseman to a right-handed to turn and complete the double play. But you certainly don't want to do it with no one on base.
Jimmy Rollins led off yesterday's game with a home run. The 45th time in his career he has led off a game with a home run, and the 8th time he's done it against the Mets. Then you got Matt Harvey on the mound today. Harvey, 19 starts this year. First batter of the game, 1 for 18 with a walk and 7 strikeouts. That's setting the tone. So we'll see if he throws Rollins a first pitch curveball this time as he did last month in Philadelphia. Harvey gets the afternoon started with a fastball, and Rollins drills it to right center. Over comes Marlon Byrd. 1 pitch and 1 hard out. So Rollins was looking fastball, got one, hit it hard, 1 out.
It's pretty interesting. Rollins was sitting on that fastball. He got it from Harvey. He just missed it, and on running around and back to the bench, ran right in front of Harvey. That's an interesting thing. That's like, we're here. We're ready today for you, big man.
Harvey's pitched 13 innings against the Phillies this year. 1 run and 5 hits in those 13 innings. Michael Young up second in the order, 1 for 6 in this series, and he takes a fastball for a strike at 98 miles an hour. Ronnie, it's been 13 days since Harvey pitched in a game that mattered. That was the 16-inning game in San Francisco a week ago Monday. He pitched like it mattered on Tuesday night for 2 very solid innings. What kind of preparation does that give him for the start today?
Well, I think he had plenty of time off, if you're thinking about that. Secondly, he could have thrown, played catch, whatever, on Thursday, pitched on Tuesday, played catch on Thursday, and have this start on Sunday. Even if he didn't play catch on Thursday, could have played catch when the teams came back on Friday. He is fully prepared.
And he's come out throwing very hard, 98, 99 miles an hour on his first 4 pitches of the game, all fastballs. Chase Utley waiting on deck. 0-2 to Michael Young with 1 out and nobody on. And he throws it just outside. A ball and 2 strikes.
And that ball was probably there, but John Buck was sitting inside, had to reach across his body, and home plate umpire Mike Winters, tough to call that pitch.
Young at 286 on the year. And the first slider from Harvey at 93 is blown away. 2 balls, 2 strikes. I don't think we've seen a 93 on his slider before.
I mean, unbelievable. 92, 93 on the slider, 98, 99 on the fastball. He's come out pumped.
Two to Young. A little bit low with the slider. 3-2. Well, he's had the highest fastball velocity in the majors and the highest slider velocity, and that slider's only gotten harder as the year has gone on. 3-2 to Young. Ground ball down to David Wright. Takes his time. 2 out. Get to 3-2 through a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. That's what every pitcher would do. There's your umpiring crew. Mike Winters has the plate. He's the crew chief. Mark Wegner at first. Tim Timmons at second. And Will Little, who had the plate yesterday, is the young umpire at third. So now Harvey will contend with Chase Utley. who has had a very good series, homered in each of the first 2 games, including a 2-run shot off Bobby Parnell in the 9th inning yesterday. That was the first home run that Parnell had given up in nearly a year. Utley's driven in 6 runs in the 2 games. And Harvey attacks him with a fastball at 99 for a strike.
I don't know if you noticed how long it took Utley to get to that plate. The veteran trying to slow down the locomotive.
And Matt is working at a very rapid pace today, or at least attempting to, and the Phillies veteran player is very conscious of that. And he gets quickly ahead on Utley, 0-2 with a couple of 99-mile-an-hour heaters. Dominic Brown would be next. Harvey ahead on Utley, 0-2. Comes inside with a fastball, 1-2.
Harvey's year against teams has consisted of guys going to the plate in the first at bat. What's the big deal? Second at bat, hopefully I can mix in a hit. Third at bat, hopefully I don't strike out again. And fourth at bat, is he still in there? That's been his year.
1-2. Inside, he hit him with a pitch. So Utley, who gets hit by a lot of pitches, gets hit by a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. And he's the first base runner of the day.
Well, Utley is tough as nails, and he gets that one right off the left forearm.
Well, Harvey's only hit one other batter in regular season play this year. Of course, Tuesday night here, he hit Robinson Cano just above the knee. But that's a big part of Matt's game, pitching inside, and Utley's a guy who does not shy away. So now Dominic Brown gets a first inning at bat. Brown 4 for 10 in this series, including a home run. Bats with Utley at first and 2 out, and fouls off the fastball.
Utley has led the league, National League, 3 times getting hit by a pitch, a high being 27. Not quite Ron Hunt-like, but still painful.
Hunt still has the single season record. Got hit 50 times in a season while a member of the Montreal Expos. Of course, Hunt began his career as a Met and was their first ever starter in the All-Star game back in 1964. Here's the 0-1, and the first curveball from Harvey pops out of the mid of Buck, and down to second base goes Utley. Pass ball charged to Buck, moving Utley to second base.
Today's player likes to keep their hands inside the baseball, so that means that they keep their hands inside that strike zone, the inside corner, for an awfully long period of time. So a ball maybe an inch or 2 off the inside part of the plate, still a hit by pitch.
So the Phillies with a runner in scoring position, 1-1 the count to Dominic Brown. Can't catch up with that fastball, 1-2.
This is the 2-seamer. See how it runs away from the bat of Dominic Brown? Now the high fastball is the pitch I think that Harvey can dominate Dominic Brown this afternoon.
Brown second in the National League in home runs with 24, 2 behind Carlos Gonzalez, who hit his 26th last night. Harvey's 1-2. Comes inside with that fastball and misses. Matt has pitched twice against the Phillies this year, both times in Philadelphia. 7 brilliant innings in April and 6 more spectacular innings in June. Cliff Lee waiting for his turn on the Citi Field mound. 2-2 to Brown. Got him with a changeup. Harvey strikes out Dominic Brown for his first strikeout of the day. Phillies are done in the top of the first. Impressive showing early by Harvey. Cliff Lee takes them out and faces the Mets when we come back. Honda dealer. Juan Laris gets another start in center field against the lefty, and why not? 5 for 7 in this series so far. John Buck, who's been hot, back behind the plate after a day off yesterday. David Wright playing third base on the 9th anniversary of his major league debut.
Well, the 19 starts and the great numbers there. 10 wins by Cliff Lee. You can see the strikeout to walk ratio phenomenal. In his career, his numbers are 4-1. Those numbers brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Eric Young Jr. will lead things off. Young is 1 for 7 in this series. Continues to get on base at a very high rate. You see that 327 on base percentage. It's 50 points higher as a Met, 377. Lee facing the Mets for the second time this year. Beat the Mets in Philadelphia back in the second week in April. He's 5-1 with a 2.09 lifetime against the Mets in 9 career starts. And the first pitch to Young is in for a strike. He threw to 29 batters in his last start against the Nationals. 25 first pitch strikes. Now the downside of that is in that particular game he threw a few too many strikes. He gave up 4 solo home runs, and that beat him as the Nats knocked him off 5-1.
You know, I wouldn't say put him in the same category, but the old Phillies pitcher Robin Roberts, a guy that used to give up a lot of home runs because he threw a lot of strikes. Cliff Lee is in that category, a guy that is not afraid to give up the solo home run. He's coming right after you.
Quickly ahead on Young, 0-2. And he fouls back the fastball. Daniel Murphy on deck. David Wright behind him. Lee pitched in the All-Star game Tuesday night. He worked an inning, gave up a run, and never smiled, even during the introductions. As Met fans were booing Braves and Phillies players. Curveball misses. I thought it was interesting that the Met fans booed the Brave players, the Phillies players, the Yankee players. They didn't boo the Nationals players or the Marlins players.
Really?
Yeah.
Now the Marlins are taking gas, so they can let them go. And plus, it was Jose Fernandez, who was 20 years old.
He wasn't around 07 and 08.
That's right.
Young hits it sharply. Rollins on the back end, steadies, and throws out the speedy Young to the first out.
There's the Toyota Let's Go Places defense for the Phillies. Brown, Mayberry, and Delman Young in right field. Michael Young at third base. Rollins, Utley, Franzen. That's his 11th start at first base. And Kratz behind the plate.
Here's Daniel Murphy, who's riding a 10-game hitting streak and a couple of hits yesterday. He's done well against Cliff Lee in his career. 8 for 23. That's a 348 average. And takes a strike. You know, for teams that talk about working the count, getting deep in the count, working opposing pitchers, you got to change your game plan a little bit when you face a guy like Cliff Lee.
Well, he goes against all of that. He's going to come right after you. He's not afraid. He's going to throw strikes. He's not going to work around the strikes out 0-2. He's still going to continue to throw strikes.
More 0-2 counts by far than anybody in the major leagues. Gets in on Murphy, who pops it up into shallow center. Mayberry has to charge hard. Now Brown from left comes in and slides to make the play. Mayberry's first step was back, so he wasn't going to get there. And Dominic Brown makes a nice play to keep that ball from falling.
We haven't seen it hurt the Phillies this series yet, but they do not have a lot of speed in the outfield. Any speed that they do have is represented by Dominic Brown. Mayberry's more of a corner guy. He's not a center fielder.
Well, they certainly miss Ben Revere, their regular center fielder, who's clearly got a lot of speed, but he's out with a broken foot, and Mayberry filling in for him. So here's David Wright. It was 9 years ago today that David made his debut against the Expos at Shea Stadium. Went 0 for 4 in that first game, and he takes a strike. The rest of the starting infield that day: Ty Wigginton at first,
because David pushed him out of third.
Jose Reyes at second. Kaz Matsui at short.
Wow.
Of course, Matsui pushed Reyes to second for that 1 year.
How did that happen, by the way?
Well, because Matsui was a star in Japan, and Reyes at the time was a very young player. And the only way the Mets could get Kaz to agree to come and sign that big contract was to guarantee him that he would play shortstop.
Wow.
And for a year he did, and then the next year they switched. And they never switched back. David drives one to deep left field. Back goes Brown near the wall. It's off the top of the fence. And it's a home run. It cleared the line. The second base umpire, Tim Timmons, says home run. David Wright's 15th home run of the year. And the Mets jump out to a 1-0 lead. Happy anniversary, David Wright.
Well, Cliff Lee is trying to jam David Wright. The pitch throw is up in the strike zone. And nice hitting by David. Had a lot of topspin on that baseball. And great job by Timmons. He got out there. He saw that it hit the fence that runs along the Hardy City deck and made the call immediately. And a good call.
It clearly hit above the orange line. They're going to go and review it. But clearly it is a home run. And David Wright, with his 30th career home run against the Phillies, has given the Mets a 1-0 lead.
I didn't see Charlie go out there. Did he go out there to ask him to take a look?
I never saw Charlie step out of the dugout. He might have yelled out of the dugout. But the umpires can decide on their own to initiate a review. Well, it was certainly close enough that it certainly makes sense that they would look at it. But from the view we have here, it is 100% a home run as it hit that pillar right in the middle of the fence, well above the orange line.
You know, you and I both, Gary, when a ball is close, we always pick up the umpires, right? So I was able to see Tim Timmons, and he had run a few steps out there. He had his eyeballs on it, and he did a great job of calling it right away.
Well, he had the best angle on it.
This crew, and we don't say it often enough, but this crew has had a real good series. Two teams fighting it out. One team trying to fight for its life because they get back to 500. One team trying to decide if they're going to stay in this race. And the umpiring crew has been spot on.
And that's even with a vacation replacement, Will Little, who had the plate yesterday. David Wright, 219 home runs now, just one behind Mike Piazza for second on the Mets all-time list. It's about the only list where David is not first in Mets history. Well, he'll catch Strawberry before too long. So Cliff Lee, who gave up 4 home runs in his last start against the Nationals, gives up a solo home run in the first inning today, and the umpires confirm that David Wright's 15th home run is on the board.
14 home runs now given up by Cliff Lee.
1 minute and 27 seconds on the video review. And here's the home run cut.
Well, it is about numbers high, right on that number 5. Quick back through that strike zone.
David behind in the count 1-2 and drives the home run, his second in this series and his 15th of the year, which puts him one behind Marlon Byrd for the club lead. Byrd is red hot, 14 RBIs in his last 10 games, batting with 2 out and nobody on, and he takes the changeup high.
Most pitchers, when they're up in the count, the hitter says to himself, do not swing at a bad pitch. When you face Cliff Lee, do not miss another strike because he's going to come after you.
2-0 to Byrd. Marlon 3 for 8 in this series with a homer and 4 RBIs. And Marlon has been hot enough for long enough that he's starting to enter some of the top 10 lists in the National League. He's 9th in the league in slugging percentage, tied for 9th in the league in home runs.
And he's pushed that average up to 274. You know, in the middle of the year, you know, he's labored around 240s, the 250s.
Hey. 2-2 to Byrd. Well, Lee knows down by a run against Matt Harvey, he's already put himself in a predicament. That's the kind of year he had last year. 1-0.
Yeah.
2-1. Leave with a lead, have the bullpen blow it. That's why he won only 6 games last year. Just off the corner to Byrd, and it's 3-2. And that was one of the more extraordinary years in Major League history because he was very good and yet went 6-9. And Byrd drives one to deep left. Forget that. That's way out of here. Into the second deck. Second time on this homestand that Byrd has hit one into the second tier. Back back-to-back home runs. First time the Mets have done that this year. And it's 2-0 New York.
Well, I'm going to drop it on him for the home run hitting Bird. 9 home run hitting Bird. Shortest stroke in the game. From that bat to the bat to the baseball. Milliseconds.
Number 17 for Bird. Well, he's talked about retooling his swing. It's more of a fly ball swing, and boy, is it working. Josh Satin drills one up the line, and it's just foul. Picked up by Young at the bag.
Watch the bat to the ball. Do you get any quicker than that? You don't have to have a big, long swing to hit the ball a long way. Just generate some velocity with that bat speed, and Bird does.
Bird is now just 3 home runs shy of his career high. He had 20 as a Texas Ranger in 2009. 17 now. It's just been an extraordinary year. And you know, when voters for comeback player of the year start voting, it's going to be an interesting call for them because of what Bird has come back from.
Yeah.
You know, when you're suspended 1 year and you come back and have a huge year the next year, I don't know whether he's going to get votes because of that. But if you take that out of the equation, nobody's had a better comeback season than Marlon Bird. Utley throws out Satin to end the inning. But the Mets hit back-to-back home runs for the first time this season as Wright and Bird stitch them together. Number 15 for Wright, 17 for Bird. 2-0 New York after 1. MW centers. Well, Matt Harvey now with a 2-0 lead. Cliff Lee all of a sudden afflicted with a little gopheritis. 4 home runs against the Nationals in his last start before the break. 2 home runs in the first inning today. Delman Young leads off in the second inning for Philadelphia. Young has been red hot. He's 6 for 9 in this series, and over the last 21 games hitting .383. Harvey hit Utley with a pitch in the first inning, otherwise unscathed, and he throws the fastball high to Young, 1-0.
No, we always talk about the power of Harvey. How can you not? 98, 99 miles an hour, the 4 pitches that he can throw for strikes. Not great luck at home, but that first inning he only missed the target 1 time on Michael Young when he was supposed to throw a fastball in, threw it away. If you're sitting at home, watch John Buck and see how many times Harvey will miss the target. It's never more than 2 or 3 an inning, which shows you that the control plus the power equals greatness.
Just got a piece of the slider to stay alive. Well, it's the contrast right now between Matt Harvey, who appears to be a finished product, and Zach Wheeler, who's still trying to get to that point.
You know, when I watched an early Roger Clemens, that was the thing that impressed me. Not only did he have great stuff, but he had pinpoint control.
Got him with a slider. Harvey strikes out Delman Young. 1 out of the second. Second strikeout from Matt.
Well, I hate to say that there's a pitcher with an unhittable pitch, but occasionally when Harvey gets that downward action and that 92 to 94 speed on that slider, I just don't know how, one, you lay off it, and if you can't lay off it, you can't hit it.
Now Kevin Franzen getting his first start in the series. Darren Ruff started the first 2 games at first base. Franzen, veteran utility man, takes a fastball for a strike. Franzen, you might remember, hit a walk-off home run against the Mets in Philadelphia when they were there in June. Hit it off Carlos Torres, with whom he had played in college. And that slider bounced slowly for Murphy to handle, and Franzen retired 2 away. Well, at least Franzen made contact with that slider, which has produced nothing but swings and misses so far. By the way, Harvey, starting today, 22 straight starts with at least 10 swings and misses. By far the longest active streak in the game.
Just, you know, you're going to have, well, most mortals are going to have a bad day occasionally, and he just does not in that regard.
2 out and nobody on. Now John Mayberry, who's 3 for 8 in this series, hitting at .254 for the year, has taken over as the everyday center fielder with Ben Revere on the shelf, and it's taken outside, ball 1. Line to right, Bird coming on and picks it off to retire the side. Harvey sets the Phillies down 1-2-3 after being handed the lead, 2-0 New York. Presented by Topps. The first 10,000 fans attending the 12-10 game against the Braves will receive a David Wright figurine. Get to Mets.com for tickets. Now, is a figurine like a bobblehead that doesn't bobble?
I'm just happy to make.
There's your not good bobblehead.
I'm just happy to make a bobblehead day. I can't even make my own, so I'm glad to be here for Dwight's.
The crowd on hand on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Temperature in the mid-80s after all those nearly 100-degree days in a row. Almost feels like springtime. John Buck will lead off in the home second against Cliff Lee, who gave up the back-to-back home runs to Wright and Bird in the first. Things have gotten much better at the plate for Buck, who skims one out to Rollins behind the bag. 1 pitch and 1 out. Buck came into the game with a 7-game hitting streak, and he's been using more of the field. He's been getting more rest, and it's all been working for him lately. as it has been for Juan Laris, who all of a sudden, as the calendar page turned to July, has really turned it on offensively.
He has turned it on. Now we have to put it a tiny bit in perspective, because a couple of hits yesterday were jam shots and off the end of the bat. But the positive is both of them came with 2 strikes, and he was trying to go the opposite way, and I think that's a positive for Juan.
Over the last 9 games now, Laris hitting .423 to get his season average up to a respectable .257. And again, we talked about this yesterday. The other piece for Laris is that he's not getting exposed to a lot of right-handed pitching. He's facing mostly lefties, and that's working for him. But he's also had some good at-bats lately against righties when he's had the chance. Yanks that cutter foul when it's 1-2.
Braves are going to throw 4 righties coming up, or
well, they've got 3 righties for sure.
Yeah.
Paul Maholm was a question mark. He was supposed to pitch Thursday, hurt his wrist, so they're not sure if he's going to pitch Thursday or not. So that would be 1 lefty if he does. Omar Quintanilla on deck. Curveball pulled foul. And there's an intriguing possibility for Thursday if Maholm can't go, because Brandon Beachy, who's been coming back from Tommy John surgery, pitched 5 good innings for AAA last night on rehab. And if Maholm can't go, it could be Beachy.
He's coming back from Tommy John surgery, right?
Laris hanging in there against Lee.
Beachy is the real deal. We've seen him pitch the regular season, postseason. He's been excellent every time he's on the field.
And you know, the way that Tommy John surgery works these days, as long as you don't rush it and come back too fast, a lot of times you come back stronger.
Yeah.
I think, you know, Mike Pelfrey was guilty of coming back a little too fast this year.
They got a big jolt last year from a young man who had Tommy John surgery, Chris Medlin, right, who was almost perfect. So they're looking for that same thing with Beachy, maybe.
The pitching's been great for the Braves, despite losing the 2 key lefty relievers. Curveball rolls up there, and it's 2-2. I mean, the Braves pitch, they hit home runs, they score runs, strike out a lot, and they've got a 6.5 game lead. Laris down swinging at the fastball. First strikeout for Cliff Lee. 2 out and nobody on.
Well, just fastball up. That kind of beats Laris right on that outside corner.
So 2 out and nobody on. Now Omar Quintanilla, 1 for 7 in this series. He's tailed off just a bit. 2 hits in his last 20 at bats. But that's kind of the way it's gone for Quintanilla since he took over 6 weeks ago as the starting shortstop. He's had some very hot streaks and some rather fruitless streaks. But what's been good about Omar, even when he's been cold, the at-bats, the approach has still been good.
Takes a lot of pitches usually. He'll foul off a lot of pitches. Harvey on deck.
And Lee pours it over for a strike, and it's 0-2. And Quintanilla out quickly to end the inning. Back-to-back strikeouts for Lee. We go to the 3rd, 2-0 New York. Matt is making his 30th career start today. Through his first 29 starts, he's got an earned run average of 2.47. If he has a good day today, he could have the best earned run average through 30 starts of any Met in history. The best belongs to Jerry Kuzman. He was at 2.39 through his first 30 starts. And Harvey at 2.47. It's about the only thing he doesn't lead in through. I mean, his whip through 30 starts, 0.99.
Don't understand it. I don't.
The best Met through 30 starts, Doc Gooden 1.09. So unless Harvey has an awful day today, he'll break that mark.
Well, somewhere in Wisconsin or Minnesota, Kuz is like, come on, let me have one. Let me keep one.
Eric Kratz will lead things off for the Phillies in the third. Kratz getting his first start of the series. Just got back from the disabled list right before the All-Star break. He was out for 5 weeks with a torn meniscus in his knee. He's actually caught more this year than Carlos Ruiz because of Ruiz's suspension and injury. Kratz with good power, 8 home runs and 140 at bats. Cliff Lee on deck, and then Jimmy Rollins. Right to the glove on the outside corner, 1-1. Harvey has struck out 2, walked none. The only base runner was Chase Utley, who was hit by a pitch in the first inning. The curveball sits high, 2-1. Of course, Harvey in his last outing against the Giants 13 days ago struggled with a blister, which he said afterward had bothered him for 3 starts. It no longer seems to be much of an issue. I think we could tell that in his All-Star appearance when he started throwing sliders in the first inning.
That's right. Well, he threw sliders because Mike Trout hit the first fastball on the right field line for a double. He said, wait a minute. Plan B.
Two to Kratz. Curveball struck him out. Third strikeout for Matt Harvey. Unveiling the curve against Kratz and using it very effectively.
This is that hard curveball that he just turns over, and Major League hitter missed that by about 2 feet. Completely fooling Eric Kratz.
Terry Collins was talking today about comments that Carlos Beltran made to him when Carlos was here for the All-Star game. Terry said Carlos came over to him in the outfield during the workout here at Citi Field and said, you know what, Terry? He said, I've faced John Smoltz, I've faced Pedro Martinez, I've faced the best pitchers of this generation. He said Matt Harvey is the best of them all. How about that? I mean, and you know, Carlos is not a guy who's given to hyperbole, so that's some awfully high praise.
Yeah, he's not too effusive when it comes to giving out compliments. He does his quiet and plays his game. It's pretty amazing. I was mentioning that and not pointing it out to embarrass Eric Kratz. Anyone would have looked like this on this curveball. I mean, it stood him up, and then he had to flail at it.
And I think, you know, getting back to what Beltran said, I think what he was talking about, and Terry elucidated this a bit. He said the thing is, as Lee goes down swinging on the fastball, when you have a guy who's throwing 99 but can throw 4 pitches as effectively as Harvey can, you can't sit on anything. Well, when he throws that hard, nobody touches him.
It's a you know, when you go back and boy, you know, we're trying, you talked about hyperbole. We're just trying to say that we sit up here, we watch a lot of players over the course of a career. You've been here 25 years, Gary, and occasionally someone comes along that does things that you haven't seen anyone else do. Fastball by Rollins, a dipsy-do Bugs Bunny changeup next. So for someone like myself that tried to do this at a high level, I'm not familiar with this game.
Harvey strikes out the side in the third inning. Rollins had no chance. 3 pitches, gone on the changeup. Matt Harvey has been electric early in this game. Cliff Lee gave up back-to-back home runs to David Wright and Marlon Byrd in the first inning, and must be fearing that he's already given up too much. Harvey will take his swings leading off in the bottom of the third. Here's today's text poll question brought to you by Chevy. Visit your local Chevy dealer at ChevyOffers.com. Who will lead the Mets in second half wins? G, Harvey, Hefner, or Wheeler? Text 56812 and let us know what you think.
This could be our first 100%.
I know my vote.
Yeah, it could be our first 100% text poll. Come on, guys. Let's go for it.
Matt has 5 hits this year. Lifetime 177 hitter. And Lee throws one to the outside corner for a strike. Certainly been an eventful week for Matt. Not just pitching in the All-Star game, not just riding the red carpet, but also he's been on something of a media blitz. And Terry Collins was asked about it today, and his response was, well, it's probably more than Matt wished for. As he goes down swinging for Lee's third strikeout. But you know, that's part of the learning process for a young player, a young star player in New York, who has reached the pinnacle of his profession as quickly as Matt Harvey has. It's going to come at you fast, and you have to learn how to deal with it.
And it not only moves fast for the player, moves fast for the PR department for the Mets, moves fast for the representation for Matt Harvey. Things just keep piling in, and you've got to have the ability to say no. And sometimes it's tougher than others.
Here's Eric Young with 1 out and nobody on. And he takes a strike from Lee. Young grounded out to short his first time up. Corners in against him. And he takes inside. Let's check in with Kevin Burkhardt. Kevin,
watching Young yesterday in that 5th inning get on, steal second and score, it reminded me, Gary, of a Reyes run, to be quite honest with you. And it's, as we've talked about, he's brought a whole new dimension to this team. I asked him his mindset and that whole stolen base thing. That's a nice line drive, but it's right at Brown for the second out. Let me finish the thought here. He said, you know, my mindset is, it's simple. It's to distract the pitcher. I'm not out there to think about stolen bases for me personally. It is for the pitcher to pick the poison. It's either going to be myself getting a stolen base or that hitter is going to get a hit, because I want that pitcher to be thinking about me. You know, when I'm on, I'm not always going to go all the time. It depends on the situation. I like to think. I watch an awful lot of tape, and I want to do what's best for the team in that situation. But this is a guy that has a lot of confidence in a good way, and he does an awful lot of film study, like a lot of players do, but he watches everything. He doesn't just watch the pitcher's move. He watches the whole field. He said, you pick up a lot of different things by outfield and infield positioning, how guys pitch. Sometimes with a catcher, you can see him getting a little bit antsy on certain times, and that's a good cue for you whether or not they're getting ready to throw. A lot of things that Eric Young Jr. picks up, but I thought about that Reyes run. That's a whole new dimension he could bring to this team.
Well, the meat of that is that the threat level itself is an asset.
Yeah.
Whether you run or not.
It just is an ability to divert the attention of the pitcher 100% from the hitter.
Or if he fooled on the cutter and it's 1-2.
And it's just there's an energy that he's brought to the team. There's, you know, since he's come here on June 18th, they've stolen 27 bases. Before he came, they stole 27 bases. It tells you, like, automatically, immediately, what a change he made.
Not only Young's running, but even Murph has been running, trying to keep up with him. He's already got a career high in steals. 1-2-3 inning from Lee. Harvey heads back to the mound, leading 2-0. Bottom Line sales event. Shop ChooseNissan.com today. Braves are in town to start a 4-game series tomorrow night. 3-night games in that early game on Thursday. Then the Mets go to Washington for a day-night doubleheader Friday. 4 in Washington, and then they go to Miami after that. They're at the standings in the National League East. Phillies 6.5 behind the Braves. And the Nationals once again under 500 after losing in 10 innings to the Dodgers last night. It's a puzzlement. They just don't score.
And David Johnson was on the talking to the media yesterday. He said, you know, we just got to keep swinging. But he looked beleaguered and did not have any answers.
That's not often the case. Michael Young takes a curveball for a strike. Davey generally has all the answers. But, you know, there's another element there, too, which is this is going to be Davey's last year managing the Nationals, and he was all in on this season. And it's not over yet. I, for one, and I'm sure you agree, you expect the Nationals to go on a run at some point because you still think they're the best team in the league, but they haven't played like it yet.
Like the run you see in the NBA. You know, at one point it's going to happen. But, you know, if they don't hit, and the 2006 Mets can answer to this, too. Sometimes your chance was your chance. And they had a chance to have their best pitcher pitch the most important game last year, and they chose not to.
Harvey missing badly for the first time, and it's 3-1. That has not walked a batter. He struck out 5. Struck out the side in the 3rd inning. 5th time in his career he's done that. 3-1 to Young, and he chases a 99-mile-an-hour fastball. Not the kind of swing you want on 3-1.
You just don't do this to hitters who have 2,300 hits. The hitters count, fastball count, gets it, still swing and miss.
3-2. Soft tapper down to Satin, and he handles that one for the first out. They threw him a 3-2 curveball and gets the weak contact. And Matt's now retired 8 in a row.
I think I mentioned it yesterday, right? There was a count that Zach Wheeler had 3-2. He kept going fastball, fastball, fastball. Ended up walking the hitter. He's not there where Harvey is, where he can go 3-2 slider or hook. He will, but not yet.
Well, when you think back to last year and the 10 starts we watched Matt Harvey make last season, the amount of refinement now compared to last season is really phenomenal. I mean, he was very, very good for those 10 starts, but now he's great.
Well, I don't think any of us would have went into the season. Well, I shouldn't say that. During spring training, we watched him pitch, and you could really see that he had improved. But you don't know what to believe from spring training. Wait till you get into the year. But once the year started, I don't think any of us, I don't think anyone who watched Matt pitch every day thought that he was going to jump from a really solid young pitcher who was on his way to one of the best pitchers, if not the best in the National League. That's quite a jump.
Utley's been the only base runner for the Phillies. Was hit on the arm by a pitch. Catch up to that fastball, and it's 1-2.
Well, we always marvel at Aroldis Chapman, who throws 100 mile an hour for 1 inning. Well, I've seen 99 miles an hour about a dozen times now.
Harvey has struck out 5. Line over Murphy. First hit of the game for the Phillies. So Utley, who has been the only man to reach for Philadelphia, is on base for the 2nd time, a 1-out single.
Well, it's probably the first time that Utley has hit a 90-mile-an-hour changeup for a base hit, but beautiful stroke. He's always hit the Mets pitching hard.
Utley's now 5 for 10 in this series. So a 1-out base runner for Dominic Brown, who struck out his first time up. Brown starts the day with 69 runs batted in, which is more than any Philly drove in all of last year. And first pitch fastball foul tip, 0-1. Been a breakout season for Dominic Brown. And, you know, the Phillies have been waiting for him so long, it's easy to think, well, you know, he's an older player now. He's 28, 20. He's only 25. So they seem to have found their star for the next 10 years. This is the guy that the Phillies were waiting for, and he has blossomed in 2013.
But what made them a great team is that they had 3 stars. They had Rollins, Utley, and Howard. And that was the difference. To go along with that great pitching, but to have 3 outstanding everyday players separates you from the bunch.
0-2 to Brown. Once he's got you, steps on your throat. Popped up. Buck coming back for a look in the crowd.
And on my scorecard, I put P2 pop up to the catcher. Maybe 3 times a year in this ballpark. It just doesn't happen.
That means there are a lot of good seats right behind the plate.
That's bring your glove.
Here's the 0-2. He jammed him with the slider. He just fouled it off his thumbs. It can't ever be a very comfortable at bat facing Harvey.
I think that you're going to get a fastball during the at bat. That's what you have to concentrate on, and you just can't miss it.
Buck moves outside, and Brown barely able to foul that ball off.
Well, the whole thing with the matchup between pitcher and hitter is that each is fighting to dictate the at bats. As a pitcher, am I going to make you uncomfortable where you have no idea what's coming? Or as a hitter, am I going to get you into 2-1, 3-1 counts where I know the predictability of what pitch I'm going to see?
Got him with a changeup. Harvey strikes out Brown for the second time. Strikeout number 6 for Matt Harvey. 2 out of the inning.
Both the strikeouts to Brown have been changeups, but he's done enough inside with the fastball and slider to set up that pitch.
That, in some ways, was remarkable from Dominic Brown's standpoint that he got to that pitch because he fouled off 2 impossible pitches.
Right.
Here's Delman Young with 2 out and Utley at first. Young was struck out his first time up.
This is the wild card for Harvey. He's had 3 hits in the 2 games here, 3 on Friday, 3 on Saturday. He's known to hit big pitching in the postseason. He's just one of those guys that if you hang one, he won't miss it.
Didn't hang that. 1-1. Well, also, I mean, Delman has been driving the ball to right field consistently. And when he's doing that, he's a very, very tough out. Kevin Franzen would be next. This is a guy who was a former #1 overall pick in the draft. And so much talent he has. Up and away 2-1. Matt Harvey in 2010 with the 7th overall pick. And there are 6 teams kicking themselves.
It's like Gooden in 1980, right?
He was the number 5 pick.
Gooden was the number 5 pick. Strawberry was the number 1 pick.
Yes, he was. So was Sean Abner. So you never know. For years I had to memorize who the 4 picks were ahead of Doc. I remember Sean Dunston was number 1. Brian Elkers, Jimmy Jones. Out to center field, and Lagares barely has to move. Delman Young retired, and so are the Phillies at the top of the 4th. New York Mets baseball is brought to you by Dodge. Take advantage of great summertime deals at the Dodge Summer Clearance Event going on now. 2-0 lead. Cliff Lee gave up back-to-back home runs to David Wright and Marlon Byrd in the first, but nothing since, and Wright will lead off in the fourth. David's home run was his second of the series and his 15th of the year. He fouls off the first pitch fastball. David now has 219 career home runs, 1,535 hits on the 9th anniversary of his debut. If you look among every other active player and see where they were on the 9th anniversary of their debut, there are 5 other players who had reached 1,500 hits and 200 home runs who are active now. Miguel Cabrera, Todd Helton, Matt Holliday, Albert Pujols, and Miguel Tejada. And that's the company that Wright has joined on the 9th anniversary of his debut. Marlon Byrd on deck, then Josh Satin in the fourth. And David drives that one into left field for a base hit. So Wright is 2 for 2.
Well, to put those numbers into perspective, Gary, David, classic swing here. Pretty good pitch by Lee because it's down, but that back leg bent to get down to that ball down in the strike zone. Put that in perspective, David would have to perform at this level for 9 more years to get to 3,000 hits. Wow.
That's how hard 3,000 hits is. Here's Marlon Byrd, who crashed one into the second deck in left field his first time up, his 17th home run of the season. That's the softest throw I've ever seen to first base.
That was, I'm not really interested, but okay, I'll throw it to first. That's a classic case of someone on the bench put that sign. Kratz gave it to Lee. He's like, I don't want to throw to first. Okay, here you go.
That was a 27-mile-an-hour throw to first base. You see what Cliff Lee has done since he got his career going. Won 18 games as an Indian in that first big year, and then was in the minor leagues the next season.
Went to the minor leagues the next season, and the next year, 2008, he went 22-3 to win the Cy Young. So retooled, rebooted, came up, and it's been excellent ever since.
And what's really changed with Lee since the beginning of his career has been the walk totals. His first 6 years in the majors, he averaged 3.1 walks per 9 innings, which is pretty pedestrian.
Yeah.
Last 6 years, he's gone from 3.1 to 1.3.
Almost palindromic, right?
Right. 2-2 to Byrd. I mean, the last 5 years, he just does not give you free passes.
Who's the best you ever saw? Saberhagen for
well, in terms
no
of
walks?
strikeout to walk ratio, there was nobody better. Sabes had that 1 year with the Mets where he had more wins than walks. Won 14 games, walked 13 the whole season. 2-2 to Byrd with Satin on deck, and Marlon fouls back the cutter.
13. That was 2 good starts for me in '85. I'll tell you that. Wow.
By the way, I want to go back to the we're talking about Doc and the players drafted ahead of him.
Yeah.
Left out Augie Schmidt.
Okay.
And then our crack stat guy Dave Freed, after I said 6 teams are kicking themselves because Matt Harvey went 7th in the draft. Strike 3 called. Byrd knew it. That's strikeout number 4 for Lee.
Well, if you're a left-handed young pitcher, this is the mechanics you want to really watch. See the high leg kick, perfect balance. Now see his head, it's on the strike zone and never moves the whole time, and that front leg lands bent, so it really serves as a shock absorber so you don't put too much strain on your arm. But the head not moving at all throughout that entire process is the reason that he throws the ball where he wants to.
Here's Josh Satin, who grounded out to Utley his first time up. So here's the point that Dave raised. The year Harvey went number 7 in 2010, number 1 pick in the draft was Bryce Harper. the number 3 pick in the draft was Manny Machado. So if you were a GM right now and you had your choice of Harper, Machado, or Harvey, who would you take? And it's an unanswerable question, right? Those are 3 players who may all have incredibly good careers.
I take Harvey over Harper. I might take Machado over Harvey.
Because he's a shortstop?
He's a shortstop.
He will be a shortstop.
Will be a shortstop. He's 3 years younger than Matt.
Just turned 21?
Yeah. I mean, this young man could be the next Alex Rodriguez. I mean, that's the kind of player he is. How many doubles he has? He has 40, I think, already.
Right there, yeah. Might threaten the all-time record.
Nets fans are going to be mad at me for that comment.
Well, but it's great fodder for discussion.
Yeah.
Satin takes that pitch down, and Lee, for a rare time, is behind on the count 3-1. And there you see Jameson Taillon, the Pirates are extremely high on, and they think he's going to be a big-time player. Chris Colon, he didn't sign that year, right?
Yeah.
He was drafted number 1. Or am I thinking of somebody? I'm thinking of Correa, the kid with the Astros. Right. Drew Pomerantz has already been in the major leagues. Slow ground ball, very tough play for Young. No way he's going to get sacked. And an infield hit for Josh on that slow roller.
Satin's got to be bemused. His first at bat, he tried that and it went foul. His second at bat, it stayed fair for a base hit. Full swing, and the ball goes 65 feet. No play for Young there.
So the Mets have 2 men aboard. John Buck coming up. Buck grounded out to short his first time up. Eric Kratz and Cliff Lee in deep conversation.
Well, the first time the Mets have had a runner on second base. They've scored a couple of runs, so they're going over the signs, what they're going to use. But also, Cliff Lee knows what the numbers are against John Buck. John Buck knows what his numbers are against Cliff Lee.
Buck has 4 career home runs against Lee, getting over 353 career at bats against him. A lot of that was back when Lee came up with Cleveland and Buck was playing for Kansas City. So they got to face each other quite a bit in the American League Central. Juan Lagares waiting on deck. First time today the Mets have had a runner in scoring position, and Buck takes the changeup high, a ball and a strike.
If you had to pick a right-hander or a left-hander and just try to emulate their body language, both Harvey and Lee are very workmanlike. They give up a hit, they don't even react. You don't know if they're losing 2-0 or winning 2-0. It's all about present moment against the hitter now. It's all they concentrate on.
And there's something else too. They both expect perfection from themselves.
You can't be in that position and have as many wins as Lee does, and hopefully Harvey will someday, without thinking that I am much better than the guy facing.
Harvey today is making his 30th career start. Cliff Lee today is making his 300th career start.
I was looking before the game. 300 start. If somehow Lee goes deep into this game, he'll also reach 2,000 innings in his career, which is 2 great benchmarks. He'd have to go 8 2/3 in this game.
Well, he goes deep. The only pitcher in the majors who's averaged more innings per start this year is Adam Wainwright. Curveball has popped up into shallow right center. Delman Young got a late start, but he hurries in to get it. Not sure if he didn't see that ball well coming off the bat, but Young hesitated before racing in.
We've spent most of this weekend talking about his strengths. They are hitting. They are not in the field.
Well, he was a DH a good portion of the time in the American League.
He's pointing at the sun, though. Help me out.
It's up there. Two out and 2 on now. Juan Lagares. It's not a a bright day, but it is a hazy day. And the sun can still play a big factor. Juan Laris struck out his first time up. And he takes on the inside corner strike.
The oppressive heat the last 2 days, I think, have really affected some of the starting pitchers. See Quintanilla on deck, but it won't affect these two guys, Harvey or Lee. As fit of pitchers as you're going to see.
And both very well rested despite having pitched in the All-Star game. Lee last made a start that counted 11 days ago, and Harvey 13 days ago.
Cliff Lee throwing more curveballs than we were used to in this game so far. Doesn't love his cutter, doesn't love his changeup, so he's gone to plan B here after the first inning.
Lee has struck out 4 this afternoon. Up and away to Laris, 1-2. Over the last 6 years, only Kershaw and Hernandez, who are right to the top of the leaderboard again, have a better ERA than Cliff Lee. I was stunned to look today and see that Felix is leading the American League in ERA because he hasn't had a great year. And yet he's leading the league in ERA again.
But you know, he's another guy that he's got 10 wins, Gary. But he's another one of those guys that he can go a month and give up a run or 2 runs. I mean, he gets on those streaks where he's unhittable. He's a guy that throws 4 pitches for strikes.
That's why he's the king. 25th pitch of the inning coming up for Cliff Lee. And Laris drives one to left field. Back goes Brown, looking up, and it's out of here. Where did that ball hit the top of the fence? It looked from here as though it was out.
I think it's the same as David Wright's ball.
I think that ball hit the railing for sure. So the umpires will get together again, and this one almost certainly will be reviewed. I didn't see which umpire ruled it in play, but apparently they did. I was watching the ball hit above the line, and they're going to go off and review it. We'll take a look at our replay.
There was not a lot of response from the umpires on that play. Just like David Wright's home run, this ball had a lot of topspin and was working down. But you can see bounces up against that railing.
And the angle that came off, it clearly is a home run.
You would have seen the orange pad move at some point if it had hit it. It hit over the orange pad, bounced up against like you were playing a stoop ball.
Well, this is going to be a 3-run homer for Juan Laris, just his 2nd major league home run, and the Mets' 3rd home run of the day against Cliff Lee. And the 2nd one on which he's been ahead in the count.
We've said he's thrown a lot more curveballs. Nice job by the young center fielder staying back and had all that top spin on it. And you can see the Mets fans out there with their hands up that were closest to the baseball. Bounces over the orange line, never see it move, bounces back into play like you'd skip a ball off a wall. And that should be a home run.
It's like you're playing stoop ball.
Yeah, right.
Well, the first review took just 1 minute and 27 seconds because it was clearly a home run for Wright. This one's a little closer, so I'm sure they'll take a little extra time to look at every available angle, but here they come. And it is a home run. 3-run homer for Juan Laris after the review, and the Mets now have a 5-0 lead. And it took them just 90 seconds to figure it out.
Trying to set a record for reviews and times today.
So the Mets have hit 3 home runs today against Cliff Lee, who gave them 4 in his last start against Washington. So all of a sudden, home runs becoming a big problem for Lee, and the Mets have a 5-0 lead for Matt Harvey in the 4th inning. Here's Quintanilla, who struck out his first time up. Well, Juan Laris continues to contribute more and more with his bat to go with that outstanding glove.
really the only time this year that the Mets have played well at home was in that first series, and in that first series they hit the ball out of the ballpark, and that has made the biggest difference, and certainly making a difference today.
Well, if you lead, you got to really be kicking yourself. You had 2 outs and an 0-2 count against an inexperienced hitter. And then on a 1-2 pitch, you hang a curveball, and all of a sudden, 2-0 turns into 5-0. 3-1 now to Quintanilla. The Mets won their first 3 series at home this year against San Diego, Miami, and Washington. They've won only 1 of 12 series since, and that was the 2-game sweep of the Yankees. And that's outside, ball 4, and Lee has issued his first walk of the day. And Matt Harvey will take some swings.
Dwight Gooden bobblehead day. As a Met, Dwight hit 7 home runs. Harvey's going to get one of his someday.
He'll get more than one. Remember, his dad is a hitting coach. His dad will not let him slack off at the plate. And Harvey learned about pitching so he could teach Matt, but hitting is his bailiwick. Of course, with the recent history, he might not want to hit a home run, because the last Met pitcher to hit a home run was Jeremy Hefner, and he's kind of struggled since then.
Things have dried up a bit.
And Harvey down on 3 pitches to end the inning. 5 strikeouts for Cliff Lee, but a very productive inning for the Mets. A couple of men on, 2 out, behind in the count. No problem for Juan Lagares. Takes 1 out, subject to review, 3-run homer. And the Mets have a 5-0 lead after 4. And why from your mobile device. Matt Harvey now fortified with a 5-0 lead. He has been on top of his game this afternoon.
Well, occasionally, not occasionally, when we watch Matt, we will see, honestly, from the first 3 or 4 pitches, he will recognize whether he's got that real good fastball. And he was real aggressive early in the game, and now he has started to move in that breaking ball and changeup.
He's allowed only 2 base runners today. Chase Utley was hit by a pitch in the first, and Utley singled in the 4th, and that has been it. And with 3 home runs for the Mets, it's a 5-0 New York lead as Kevin Franzen leads off in the 5th inning. Franzen playing first base today, grounded out to Murphy his first time up. Harvey has struck out 6, walked none. And he starts Franzen off with a fastball away for ball one. John Mayberry on deck. Eric Kratz behind him as the Mets try and take the rubber game of this 3-game series. The Mets are 18-12 over their last 30 games. And after struggling mightily on Friday night in their first game out of the All-Star break, and your first thought is, wow, not again. All of a sudden, the last couple of days, a well-played game yesterday, and now Harvey doing his thing today. It's a good curveball to get ahead on Franzen, 1-2. One-two from Harvey, and it's bounced foul. So I looked at the scoreboard today and I saw Dodgers and Nats. Kershaw against Zimmerman. Great pitching matchup, kind of like we have here.
Yeah.
Dodgers got 7 off Zimmerman in the second inning, knocked him out.
Same kind of game then. I mean, when you think about it,
I guess
5 for the Mets against the great Cliff Lee, and 7 against Jordan Zimmerman.
Just off the outside corner. Well, Matt Kemp came off the DL for the Dodgers today. Home run. And Ramirez has another one. The Dodgers, if they win and Arizona loses, would go to first place. Here's the 2-2. Franzen just gets a piece of the slider, and the Diamondbacks have to face Madison Bumgarner and the Giants today. So there's every chance that by the time the day is over, the Dodgers, who were at 1 point 12 games under 500, will be in first place.
Saw Kane got a win in yesterday's game, but he only went 5 innings.
He was happy with that after the previous 2. 2-2, and Franzen hanging in there against the fastball. The Dodgers have come from last to almost first in that not all that strenuous division.
I don't know if they're going to be able to do it all year, but Colorado Rockies have stayed there, haven't they?
Yeah. Credit to them.
Yep.
Got him. Harvey strikes out Franzen, number 7 for Matt.
Well, first changeup that he's thrown to a right-handed hitter. Sliders away, fastball away, and look at that changeup grip. And no chance for Franzen. You watch how far ahead of this baseball he is. Through the zone, and here it comes.
We talked about Matt's streak of games with 10 or more swings and misses. He's already got 17 swings and misses in the first 4 1/3 today. Here's Mayberry, who lined out to right his first time up. It's interesting to look at those numbers, isn't it? Because his history before he got to the major leagues was good, but at times spotty. He had a not very good sophomore year in college, a very good junior year in college, and he drops that curveball in for a strike, 1-2. Minor leagues, he was good, but he wasn't great before he came up. Then he came up late July last year and was great.
But don't think that all of that process has put him here. It's just his time.
What do you mean by that?
I mean that it hasn't all been great, but all of it has been important to moving him forward. You know, sometimes you don't have those numbers. I know in AAA my numbers were probably around the 500 level, but I needed that time to be ready when it was my time. Now certainly not on Matt's level, but at least ready to be a major league pitcher who could take the ball 35 times every year.
2-2 to Mayberry. Couldn't get it to bite at the curveball. 3-2.
But there was, like, I understand what you're saying. There was never any indication that, you know, the phenom kind of label that, you know, automatic 20-game winner, automatic 15-game winner.
When he was in AAA last year, scouts were saying he should be a pretty good number 3 starter. That's what they were saying. Strike 3 call. Got him looking. 8 strikeouts for Matt Harvey. 2 out. I mean, it just goes to show how imperfect the science drafting is and scouting is, that even at a point where a pitcher like Matt Harvey is at AAA, scouts look at him and they see a guy who they think is going to be a middle of the rotation guy. He gets to the big leagues and he's a phenomenon.
Well, I think that what you can't measure is the insides of guys and what they have and what they're going to do when they get to this level, not only at the major league level, but also pitching in this town. And as we've seen this last 6 months or so, he has taken to it like a flash. He just loves pitching in this town, loves being part of the whole scene, and wants to live. You know, he aspires to be the best pitcher in all of baseball,
and to do it on the big stage.
Yeah, and he's pitched like it.
By the way, I don't know when we just showed the booth whether the folks could see another guy who took New York by storm, our Doc Gooden bobblehead.
I hate to criticize, but Dwight's in white shoes, by the way. I know in the All-Star game he would wear white shoes, but
well, Matt wore orange shoes on Tuesday. Those were pretty phenomenal. I was half hoping that he'd break him out again here today, but probably better off going with his normal look. Hard foul ball up the bat of Kratz, and it's 2-2. His Matt's orange shoes were nice. Adam Jones's orange shoes were off the charts.
Well, they got the orange too, the Baltimore Orioles, right?
Harvey's already struck out the side once today. Spikes that one. 3-2. Harvey has not walked about it today. It's only his second 3-ball count of the afternoon. Struck him out. Harvey strikes out the side for the second time today. 9 punch outs for Harvey through 5. Harvey at his dominant best. 5-0 halfway through.
Mets, 3 home runs off Cliff Lee. Harvey, phenomenal with 9 strikeouts so far. He struck out the side twice already. We've talked about it all weekend long. These Phillies, are they for real or are they not? And that's a decision that GM Ruben Amaro Jr. has to make in the next 10 days, whether to buy or sell or just stand pat, for a matter of fact. I'll tell you this, if the Phillies do get in the mix and stay in this race and hope to contend and maybe add a piece, they could be adding a big piece maybe in a month from now, because a big event happened for them earlier this morning. That's their ace, Roy Halladay, took to the mound after shoulder surgery for the first time. 20 pitches off the mound right below me. The watchful eye of pitching coach Rich Doobie, and it was a big deal. Doobie downplayed it, said, hey, it's the next progression, but he did say his range of motion, his arm angle has been phenomenal since the surgery. The reason being, they went out and cleaned out the shoulder. That was one thing, but there was a bursa sac that they believed was really inhibiting that range of motion, did not allow him to get on top of the ball, and they feel that really took care of things. Now, there's a long way to go. It's only the first mound session. He threw all fastballs. First pitch swinging for Young Jr. that is. Maybe I retires him. But the bottom line is, guys, it's hope for the Phillies that Halladay, if he keeps going, doesn't have any setbacks, could be a late addition if they somehow find a way to stay in this race.
You know, there were two guys who, once they went down this year, you thought they probably would not return this season. Chris Carpenter for the Cardinals and Halladay for the Phillies. Now, Carpenter is out on rehab. He's struggling right now, but at least he's trying to make his way back. And now you got Halladay. It's only late July. Maybe he does have a chance. Only two active pitchers have more wins than Roy Halladay, although Sabathia would like to tie him.
He could use a good game.
He sure could. Murphy takes the curveball inside 1-1. Carpenter made his second rehab start last night and was not happy with the results. He's trying to come back from that thoracic outlet syndrome that Sean Markham succumbed to as well. And obviously the Cardinals are going to be in a race all year, sitting atop the National League Central. That would be a huge boon if he can come back, even as a reliever, which they've talked about. Slow ground ball for Utley, and Murphy retired, 2 away.
Did you guys see in that Cardinals game, you know, when we're in St. Louis, we always talk about the atmosphere and the fans and how great it is. See what happened in that game last night. They had a guy by the name of Brock Peterson, who was a career minor leaguer, 11-year minor leaguer, called up when they put Matt Halladay on the disabled list. He comes up in the 5th inning, his first major league at bat. And this is a guy who's been independent ball. He's been all over the place, but he was a AAA All-Star this year. Anyway, first at bat, standing ovation from the St. Louis crowd. Goes and gets an RBI ground out. Another round of applause. It's pretty good stuff from the fans out there.
It's kind of par for the course there.
Yeah, they're just into it. They know everything about the team, the players, who's on it. I remember when Carlos, I saw Carlos Beltran at a dinner, and we were talking over the winter a couple of seasons ago, and he had just agreed to go to St. Louis. And I remember we were having a conversation. I said, you know, you're going to love it in St. Louis. And the last time I saw him, he said, hey, Ronnie, you were right. I love it there. And he's played up to it.
David Wright is 2 for 2 today. He's homered and singled. And he bounces one down to third. Michael Young makes the long throw right on target. And Cliff Lee has himself a 1-2-3 inning. We're through 5 now at Citi Field. 5-0 New York. .78 pitches through 5 innings. He has struck out 9, walked none, hit a batter, given up 1 single. This is why.
Well, this is as good as it gets. See how those shoulders are square across. He reaches back to second base, doesn't cup the baseball. And just like you were throwing a javelin, not a baseball, no short armed involved. That chest clears. You fold the glove under your left armpit, clear everything to let it go. It's a great shot. Wow. I needed to know more about pitching when I was pitching. It would have really helped.
You're a little bit surprised that Cliff Lee is batting for himself?
I don't think so. After watching some of the middle relievers struggle here for the Phillies, I think he's given up 3 home runs, 3 bad pitches, but other than that, I would leave him in the game. Why not?
It's 5-0 in the 6th inning. You got to score some runs if you're the Phillies, don't you?
But I also think that he thinks Cliff Lee gives him the best chance to not give up any more runs and for their offense to try to come back. How against Harvey? I don't think they figured that out yet.
Oh, 2 to Lee. Popped up foul.
There were some at bats where you would go up as a pitcher and you want to compete and you're going against a guy and he's a hard thrower and you say, boy, I'm going to put a good at bat against him. But then there's certain guys you go up against and that looked like a strike. And you go, you know what? My heart's not really in it. I know when I would face Nolan Ryan or Randy Johnson, people like that, you get up in the box, you really wanted to get a hit, but I don't know. I don't think I have the ability to get a hit off this person.
Rather save your energy for going back to the mound. 2-2 to Lee with Rollins and Young to follow in the 6th. Too high, so after going ahead 0-2, Harvey runs a full count to the opposing pitcher. Lost his concentration for just a minute after not getting that strike on the 0-2 curveball. It looked like a strike. 3-2. And a tapper for Murphy. Lee running hard is out at first base. And that's great to see. Lee's down 5-0 in this game. He's already thrown 5 innings. It's a routine ground ball, and he is busting it down to first base.
You don't have to gain respect for a player or a pitcher just because he pitches a perfect game or doesn't give up any runs. You get a lot of respect for guys in their worst games, how they conduct themselves.
1 out and nobody on. Here's Jimmy Rollins. Rollins hit the ball hard on the first pitch of the game. He got a first pitch fastball from Harvey, ripped one to right center. Marlon Byrd caught it. And that's been the hardest hit ball against Harvey all day. Curveball low and in for ball 1. Rollins struck out in his second at bat, one of 9 strikeouts for Harvey this afternoon. Rollins stepping out, takes a strike. It was odd.
Trying a little bit of everything here, J. Roll.
One and 2. Tapper, another play for Murphy. And he gets Rollins by a stride, 2 out. So Michael Young bats with 2 out and nobody on. Young has been up twice, grounded out to third, grounded out to first. Young 1 for 8 in this series. The only hit was a home run on Friday night. Fastball strike.
Well, the last time that, the first time that Jamie Rollins made an out on that line drive you were talking about, Gary, he took the turn at first base and ran right by Matt Harvey, within inches of him. Almost like, we're here, big boy, against you. He made the out there. Matt Harvey went almost all the way to second base. Like, I don't want any of this nonsense. I don't want you crossing my path. I don't want you anywhere near me. I'm going to go regroup back here. You get to the dugout. I'll proceed to the next hitter. That was a... And you never see him do that. So it was unusual.
Well, from there, he just started unleashing 99s. 99, 99, 99. And he's had the Phillies in the palm of his hand ever since. Sometimes the first pitch can set the tone. We saw it the last time Harvey faced the Phillies with that first pitch curveball to Rollins, and maybe it happened again today. Up and away to Young, 1-2. Now the challenge for Matt is to just hit 100 miles an hour for the first time today to get deeper into the game. He's up to 93 pitches in the sixth. 1-2. Line left center, base hit for Young. Eric Young gets over to get it, and he'll hold Michael Young to a single. Just the second Philadelphia hit of the day.
We've been talking all day about how Harvey always seems to hit the glove. Well, that was a changeup that was supposed to be away. It filtered back over the middle of the plate, and Young hit a line drive.
So now Chase Utley, who's the only other Philly to reach base. He's been on base twice, hit by a pitch in the first, singled over Murphy's glove in the fourth. Got it inside on Utley, who fouls it off. 0-1.
Mike Winters, the home plate umpire, took a shot, didn't even move. Veteran tough. Let's go.
Takes a hard man to make a good umpire.
Yep.
Keeping it inside on Utley, 1-1. So he hit him with a pitch once today, not afraid to come back inside. And that's important too. You know, a lot of guys, after they'll hit somebody, a little afraid to maybe afraid's not the word, a little wary about coming back in there again.
Well, you know that with Utley, if you throw inside, there's a good chance that he's not going to get out of the way. So if you're not precise, it could result in a hit batter.
Hit hard, but right at Murphy. Side retired. First inning without a strikeout for Murphy, for a Harvey, who gives up his second hit and has a 5-0 lead. By Dodge, take advantage of great summertime deals at the Dodge Summer Clearance event going on now.
Nice, working our way across the Upper East Side.
Looking south.
We're looking south.
Passing by the City Court building.
Very nice. Empire State Building on the horizon.
Chrysler Building just to the right of our score bug.
There you go.
Matt Harvey should be satisfied with his 6 innings so far. Probably has one more in the tank at 97 pitches on the day. Marlon Byrd leads off in the home 6th inning. Marlon was the back end of back-to-back home runs behind David Wright in the 1st inning, his 17th of the year. Went down looking in the 4th. And Cliff Lee pours one over the inside corner with a changeup. 0-1. Byrd then Satin and Buck for the Mets against Lee, who's given up 5 hits, but 3 of the 5 have been home runs, accounting for all 5 runs. And that one's drilled to left field, a base hit for Byrd. Brown casually toward the line, gets it back in quickly though, and holds Byrd to a single. 2nd hit of the day for Marlon, and the Mets have the leadoff man on in the 6th.
Marlon had 2 hits yesterday, didn't he? So that average still creeping up. From the 274 it started today. A lot of topspin on that baseball played by Brown.
Up to 278 now with his 2 for 3 today. So the Mets have their 6th hit, and now Satin, who had an infield single, a little dribbler to third that he beat out, came in to score on Juan Lagares' 3-run homer that gave the Mets some separation in the 4th inning. Satin 1 for 6 in this series. And takes a knee-high strike, 1-1. Mike Davis should be back in the lineup tomorrow when the Mets face a right-hander, Julio Teheran. Mets will face righties at least the first 3 games of their series with the Braves. Teheran, Chris Medlin, and Tim Hudson the next 3 nights. Kratz able to knock that down with a chest protector and keep Byrd at first base. 2-1.
Kratz has played, and this is his 39th start this year. That's one more than Carlos Ruiz, who's missed so much time. Teheran had a nice first half for the Braves, didn't he?
The Braves made the choice to hang on to Teheran and trade Randall Delgado. I have to think right now they've made the right choice.
But Delgado looked pretty good here in the Diamondback uniform.
Fly ball, pretty well hit to center. Back goes Mayberry. Has plenty of room at the edge of the warning track to grab it. One long out. So 1 out and 1 on. Now Buck is grounded to short and fly to right. By the way, I couldn't get through the afternoon without asking you about Eric Bedard last night. Bedard for Houston against Seattle last night. 6 1/3 hitless innings. Walked 5, struck out 10. At 109 pitches with 1 out of the 7th. Bo Porter goes to the mound. Says to Bedard, "What do you think?" Bedard said, "I think I should come out."
Well, he was the first. He's the first pitcher in the history of the game that declined to stay in for a no-hitter.
Now, he was losing at the time.
That's right. He had given up some runs.
I mean, the Mariners won that game 4-2. They only had 1 hit in the game. Got a couple of runs on pass ball and then some walks and a sacrifice fly.
And the Astros defense has not been great all year. Bedard ended up giving up 3 runs, only 1 earned.
It was only the 2nd time in Major League history that a team had scored 4 runs with 1 hit or less. The other time, remember, there was the Andy Hawkins no-hitter against the White Sox. They had 4 runs on no hits. Strike 3 called. Buck is caught looking. That's 6 strikeouts for Lee. Of course, Hawkins didn't get credit for a no-hitter because he only went 8. There was no bottom of the 9th in that game.
Interesting to see Lee versus Lagares in this at-bat. He documented it. He was 0-2, got to 1-2, and hung the curveball, but this has got to be the one guy that's got to anger Lee and how he pitched to him.
Well, the play of the game brought to you by Mazda. If it's not worth driving, it's not worth building. And there's that aforementioned hanging curve. Laris clearing the orange line for his second career home run, a 3-run shot.
Two home runs. 2 out of 3 home runs today would not have been a home run a few seasons ago.
Marlon Birds would have.
Yeah, would have.
You know, the way Marlon's going, he's going to head for Cespedes territory after a while. I mean, he's at 2 in the second deck in this series. Nobody does that except Mark Reynolds. Lagares has his second hit of the day. Well, this has been some series for Juan Lagares. 7 hits in 10 at bats now, with 5 RBIs, including the home run today.
His July is just red hot. Little change up. Hit too swiftly to get past Jimmy Rollins.
So 2 out and 2 on for Omar Quintanilla. Well, we talked about it yesterday with Lagares, whether he might get more playing time than just the platoon shot against left-handers, and I guess we'll know in the next few days whether Terry Collins will reward him for this big series by giving him some starts against right-handers.
Well, both his home runs have come against left-handers, Travis Wood and now Cliff Lee, and my feeling is that one of the reasons he's hitting so well is that he's being protected a little bit against those tough right-handers, and I want to see Newland Heights play also. I think they should continue to platoon for the time going forward, even though he's hot in July.
Well, he's certainly thriving with the way it's working right now. Matt Harvey would be next. Quintanilla batting with 2 out and 2 on. Omar has struck out and walked today. 1 for 8 in this series.
Well, Gary, I can't tell you as a team, and when you're on a team, how important this series was for the Mets. Not only to get off to a decent start if they're able to hold on here, win at home a series which they haven't done since the Yankee series, score some runs at home, which they went through a period where, where they go, I don't know how many games in a row was 5 runs or less, 22 or something like that. It's a crazy number. Just important all the way around.
And add to that the history of the last few years of fading in the second half. Last year, remember how good the first half was. Mets were 6 games over, and then they went 2-13 coming out of the break, and the whole season collapsed right after the All-Star break. So you certainly didn't want to see that happen again, and that made this series big. And then, of course, you got the first place team coming in for the next 4 days, so you could get very quickly. The Mets had so much good feeling again the last month before the All-Star break. You don't want to see that fade. 0-2 to Quintanilla, and he bounces one down to first, and Franzen handles it to retire the side. Mets leave 2. Harvey heads back to the mound for the 7th with a 5-0 lead. predictable. We asked who would lead the Mets in wins in the second half, and somehow 28% of you did not pick Matt Harvey.
Well, you have to kudos out to G. Hefner and Wheeler's family for keeping that close.
How come Carlos Torres wasn't on the list? It's the rotation. Here's Doc Gooden. His bobblehead day today just was shown on the scoreboard. Got a huge ovation from the fans here at Citi Field. Look at those girls enjoying Keith's favorite treat, cotton candy.
Oh, see.
Keith has fear of cotton candy.
He's got a few fears. Cotton candy's not my favorite either, but I mean, I don't have fear of it like he does.
Dominic Brown leads off in the 7th inning against Harvey, who has struck out 9 today, including Brown twice. Harvey struck out the side in the 3rd and again in the 5th. Last Met to strike out the side twice in one game, September 12, 2006 in Florida. Oliver Perez. Now in that game, Ollie gave up 4 runs and 5 hits in 5 innings, but struck out 11.
Well,
does that sound familiar?
He has turned it around, hasn't he, as a specialist lefty over there in Seattle?
He's found his niche.
Yep.
Harvey up to 100 pitches on the afternoon. He's had some trouble post 100 pitches in some starts this year. Curveball fouled off, 2-2.
Well, his best games is he's had the combination of strikeouts, but also the really quick innings, 6, 7, 8 pitch innings. He has not been the case today.
2-2. Struck him out. Number 10 for Matt Harvey. 8th time in his career and the 6th time this year that Harvey has struck out in double digits.
The hard slider or the curve? I think it's the curve there. But good enough to get Dominic Brown.
So 1 out in the 7th. Now Delman Young, who has struck out and flied out 0 for 2. There have been only 3 base runners for the Phillies this afternoon as they get Antonio Bastardo up in the bullpen. Utley was hit by a pitch in the 1st. Utley singled in the 4th. And Michael Young singled in the 6th. Harvey's retired the leadoff hitter in all 7 innings. Another dominant performance for Matt Harvey. Pulled, base hit. Trickling down the line. Delman Young heads to second as Eric Young plays it out of the corner. And the Phillies have their 3rd hit of the day, their first extra base hit. A 1-out double for Delman Young.
You can see the uneasiness there of Terry Collins, thinking how far is he going to go with Matt Harvey. You know, Delman Young, it doesn't matter how good you're pitching, he's going to get his. That's how good a hitter he is, and he pulled that slider.
He's now 7 for 12 in this series. Mets will get action going in their bullpen for the first time as Kevin Franzen steps in. Young at second and 1 out. Franzen has grounded out and struck out 0 for 2. Up and away at 97. Harvey threw 121 pitches in his last start against the Giants nearly 2 weeks ago. Now remember, in that game he was at 107 through 6, went back out there for the 7th and gave up a run, but made his way through that 7th inning. Ball and a strike. But after 100 pitches this year, Harvey has been hit pretty hard. You see his numbers after the 6th inning. Even more lopsided when you look at his numbers after 100 pitches. Opponents are hitting .470 against him this year. There's a strike on the outside to Franzen, 1-2.
And I think that's a better indication. I've seen a lot of times they'll show that a pitcher's ERA in the 9th inning it's minuscule for a starting pitcher. It doesn't mean anything because you're working on a shutout. You know, and if you get a shutout in that game, if you're still in there, you're probably not going to give up any runs. But after 100 pitches, that's a really good idea of how the drop-off is.
1-2 to Franzen. Couldn't get him to bite at the slider. 2-2. So David Aardsma up in the Mets bullpen. Well, this will certainly be Harvey's last inning. The question is, can he complete it? John Mayberry waiting on deck. Two. Check swing foul. Franzen nearly screwing himself into the ground.
He's pitched Franzen away the entire day and decided to come up and in. And this is just a protective hack and a drop to the knee.
It's an abortive dive. Now the 2-2. Tap to the right side. And Murphy throws out Franzen for the second out as Young moves over to third. First time the Phillies got a runner at third base today. But another weak swing on a breaking ball, resulting in a soft ground out. And now John Mayberry. Mayberry is lined out to right and taking a call third strike. 0 for 2. Well, last year the Mets had a dominant pitcher of a different ilk. He's been less dominant this year. R.A. Dickey has just given up 3 more home runs in Toronto this afternoon against Tampa Bay, down 4-1.
What's he, 8-10 on the season?
ERA up over 4.7 now. Different kind of year. Mayberry drills one to left center field. Racing back is Laris. Makes the catch. Side retired. Boy, did Laris cover some ground. Toughest play behind Harvey all afternoon. In all likelihood, Matt's day is done after 7 scoreless innings. Pirates trying to salvage a game in that series with the Reds with Jeff Locke on the mound. The Dodgers knocked out Jordan Zimmerman with a 7-run second inning. Matt Kemp off the DL, 3 for 3 with a homer, double, and 3 RBIs. Marlins and the Brewers scoreless. The Cardinals trying to go to 22 games over 500 today. Diamondbacks' first place is in jeopardy as they take on the Giants and Madison Bumgarner, and the Cubs and Rockies later on. Well, we've been marveling at Matt Harvey all day. How about a little marveling for Juan Laris in this play in center field?
One of the joys of this job is watching center fielders who can go get it. And the ability to read the ball off the bat, how hard it's hit, where it's going to be hit, and a mad dash to the spot where you think the ball is going to be. This young man is pretty special.
And now starting to hit a little bit too. Matt Harvey done after 7 scoreless innings, 112 pitches. He'll leave for a pinch hitter here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Another tremendous job by Harvey. Meanwhile, Cliff Lee out of the game as well, and Antonio Bastardo will take over the pitching in the bottom of the 7th.
Bastardo's got a 9 1/3 scoreless inning streak against the Mets. He's always been tough on him anyways. You see his numbers this year, pretty special. 36 strikeouts and 34 and 2/3 innings pitched.
You know, Ronnie, I go back to Charlie Manuel's decision to have Lee bat in the top of the 6th inning. You figured at that point, well, you're going to leave him in there until he gets another turn at bat later in the game. But he only pitched 1 more inning after that, and that made that decision a little strange.
Yeah, I don't like the decision now. If you're going to leave him in there to pitch until his time came up again, that made some sense. But, you know, that 1 inning doesn't make any sense to me.
So Lee went 6, allowed 5 runs and 7 hits, walked 1, struck out 6, and allowed 3 home runs. That's 7 home runs allowed for Lee in his last 2 starts. That's a happy father and daughter on a beautiful Sunday afternoon in New York. Quite an attraction today. Bobbleheads, Matt Harvey, and the Met fan has gotten everything they could have asked for it today. Doc in the ballpark. Harvey at his best, 3 home runs and a 5-0 Met lead going to the bottom of the 7th. And now Andrew Brown will bat for Harvey. Well, the Mets skipped his start before the All-Star break to allow him to pitch in the All-Star game. He got his 2 good innings in on Tuesday and 7 tremendous innings today.
You know, it's interesting when you leave a game and you've pitched 7 shutout innings and your team's up by a few runs, you go on that bench and you get really chirpy. And the reason being is that you still have all that adrenaline working in you, and you got to get it out. And sometimes it becomes getting the pitching coach and then let's go through every inning the whole day. And he's next to Dan Worthen talking about it now.
Andrew Brown hitting at .255, and Bastardo gets ahead of 0-2. Well, Harvey went 7, allowed 3 hits and no runs, didn't walk a batter, struck out 10. It's 5 times this season that Harvey has had double-digit strikeouts, and in each one of those outings had no walks. So 5 of the 6 times this year that he's had double-digit strikeouts, he's had no walks.
Yeah, that's Clemens-like too, to me.
Spectacular.
Clemens in both of his big games with 20 strikeouts had no walks. Against the Mariners, of course, and against the Detroit Tigers. Separated by many years.
Brown goes down swinging. That's the first out of the home 7. Tomorrow night, the Mets and Braves open a 4-game series. Coverage on SNY tomorrow night starts at 6 o'clock with Dylan G on the mound, trying for his 8th win against Julio Teheran. For more on the Braves, let's check in with Kevin.
Pretty incredible the Braves are in first place when you look at their offense overall and realize how many people, Gary, are underperforming. And we certainly talked a lot about B.J. Upton and all the things going there. They've had injuries to deal with. But how about Dan Uggla? Ever since that trade from the Marlins to the Braves, signed that big 5-year, $62 million deal, things have not been the same for Dan Uggla. His average has dropped. Home runs were there year 1, not there last year. The home runs are back. But coming into today, was hitting under 200. Now he does have 19 home runs and he is driving in runs, but it's been a very strange offensive progression for Dan Uggla. I talked to a scout about it. He said, well, what I've seen, teams aren't throwing him anywhere close and he's still swinging at everything. His 32% swing rate is the most in the league. But again, when he makes contact, it's going out of the yard 19 times. Talking to some Braves people about him, they say, you know, it's certainly not for a lack of effort. He is working his tail off. He plays hurt all the time. When he's not in the lineup, he wants to be in there. So that's not the case. But there's some big holes in Dan Uggla's swing right now. When he connects, it's trouble. But that's kind of been, I guess, the tone with this entire Braves lineup, hasn't it, Gary?
Well, you know, they're still third in the league in runs scored, which is remarkable. But you know, it hasn't necessarily come from the places they've expected. Evan Gattis, who's now healthy again, has given them far more than they ever could have anticipated. And Freddie Freeman's had a breakout season. And although he's had a problem with a thumb injury lately, run scoring has not been a problem for them with all the home runs they hit.
They're a strange team. It's all or nothing offensively. They've gotten good enough pitching. The one part of the game that has surprised me, I guess you got to give a lot of credit to our old buddy Roger McDowell. Their bullpen has been held together despite losing Johnny Venters, Eric O'Flaherty, two of the biggest pieces to get the ball to Kimbrel.
Well, they've been able to replace those two guys in part with Luis Avilan as Young goes down swinging, back-to-back strikeouts for Bastardo. But there's no question they're in the market for a left-handed reliever as we head toward the trading deadline. But, you know, Kevin nailed it about the injuries. I mean, think about last week. They lost B.J. Upton to the disabled list with an abductor muscle. They lost Justin Upton the same day. He went down for a couple of days. And they lost Jason Hayward, who's been out ever since with a hamstring injury. They lost Freeman for a couple of days with a thumb. And they keep cruising along. They're not at a hot pace right now. They're kind of winning and losing, alternating every day. But since nobody else has really turned it on, and the Phillies have gotten to 500, but haven't really made a push toward first place yet, and the Nationals can't get out of their own way. And so they've been able to sit pretty at the top of the division. Off that great start that they had, they've really been a 500 team ever since.
Well, that's it. I think that's the mirage of it all, Gary, is that the other teams have not played over 500 balls, so no one's been pushing them. So they've kept the lead, but you know the lead is where they're looking at maybe 88 wins or 90 wins. Is that going to be enough? You thought before the season, no way.
Well, after the Nats won 98 last year, but again, they're the party of the other part in the discussion about the Braves. If the Nationals were doing what everybody expected them to do, the Braves would probably be a second-place team right now. And that's not to take away from what Atlanta has done. That's on Washington. Here's the 2-1 to Murphy, and he swings at the fastball, 2-2. Murph is 0 for 3 today, so his 10-game hitting streak might be on the line here in the 7th inning. The other thing that's helped the Braves is that Brian McCann has become Brian McCann again. Popped up in foul ground, and Michael Young should have room. That retires the side. So Bastardo comes in, throws a 1-2-3, bottom of the 7th. On to the 8th we go, 5-0 New York. 15% or more on car insurance. Lots to see today with a Zoom or otherwise. On a Sunday afternoon in New York. Quite good bobblehead day. Matt Harvey day. 7 scoreless for Harvey today. And Met fans with every reason to be happy this afternoon as the Mets go for a series win against the Phillies. And Scott Atchison will make his second appearance since coming back from the disabled list.
Well, he had that groin injury warming up after coming off the disabled list for the first time. His numbers have been pretty good. The ERA is up. He's had a couple of bad outings earlier in the year.
Eric Kratz leads off for the Phillies in the 8th inning. He came up twice against Harvey and struck out both times. Matt Fan 10 in 7 innings today. Pitcher spot due up next for the Phillies, and Lance Nix has come out on deck to pinch hit. Now the 1-2, and it's fouled away.
I was thinking about Atchison and Troy Hawkins. Troy's been so good of late. I was thinking that with the Herman here, it really gives you an opportunity to maybe everyone has their time and place, and everyone's going to get some time off.
Satin tracks the foul pop-up and makes the play on Kratz for the first out.
You know what I'm saying? That you won't have to use, or hopefully not have to use, Scott Atchison back-to-back and LaTroy back-to-back. Herman could maybe eat up some of those tougher innings.
Well, here's the problem, or at least a potential problem with that. The Mets are carrying 13 pitchers right now. Herman was the last guy in. They're clearly going to go back to 12 pitchers in the next couple of days. Justin Turner is probably going to come off the disabled list. So the question is, if Herman is staying, who's going?
Well, I don't know who's going, but I would be shocked if Herman is sent down.
I agree with that. Now, you know, the other guy who's kind of been on a string to Las Vegas this year has been Greg Burke. He's been up and down a couple of times. So I guess that's a possibility. Nix, the pinch hitter. Nix has been struggling lately, 0 for his last 10, including 0 for 2 in this series. He's been a prolific pinch hitter for the Phillies this year. But I don't think there's any question that Herman, through his first 4 appearances, has shown an ability to work in very tough situations, and if not always successful in those situations, certainly looks as though he belongs. Atchison handles the comebacker, and Nix retired 2 away. So Atchison has come in and retired the first 2, and now up to the top of the batting order for Jimmy Rollins. Rollins 0 for 3 today. So we talked earlier in the game about what Matt Harvey could accomplish today, today being his 30th career start. He came in to the day with a career earned run average of 2.47. And we mentioned that the best ERA through 30 games as a Met was Jerry Koosman, 2.39.
30 games.
30 games.
Okay.
Yeah, Koosman, I think 1 or 2 of those were in relief. So Harvey did it. He got to 2.38 with his 7 scoreless today. So he now has the best ERA through 30 games of any Met pitcher in history. Bested Koosman by .01. Rollins laces one to left. Young was playing the line, so that'll fall in for a base hit. I'm used to seeing the left fielder play that far to the line against Rollins batting left-handed. But it gets Jimmy Rollins a base hit.
I don't know what to say about that defense. I mean, you're protecting. Young's playing so that if the ball's in the stands, you might have a shot. I mean, that ball is straight away left field. Pretty simple out.
So the Phillies have their 4th hit of the day, and now Michael Young, who has 1 of the 4. And Young hits it in the air to right. Back goes Bird. He's got plenty of room. Side retired. A hit and 1 left. We go to the bottom of the 8th. 5-0 New York. Smurfs 2 in theaters July 31st.
Now we're coming down the West Side Highway, Gary.
A lot of Trump property there.
Yes, there is. And more going up. The Intrepid. You will not be able to see.
You got to pull back
a little bit.
Just past H&H Bagels.
I got my next job at Circle Line.
You could be a good tour guide. Well, Jonathan Papelbon has not made an appearance in this series, so the Phillies closer will get an inning of work.
Well, you see his numbers, but those most recent failed save opportunities have come in the last month.
David Wright will lead off in the home 8th inning against Papelbon. David's had another terrific day. Got the Mets started with a home run in the 1st, his 15th. Had another base hit and scored a run in the 4th, 2 for 3. Mets have hit 3 home runs today, and they take a 5-0 lead into the bottom of the 8th against Papelbon. And David takes a strike. So it's a multi-pronged question with Papelbon. One is, as we've talked about throughout this series, whether the Phillies are in the race and want to stay the course or add to what they've got before the trading deadline, or whether they're judged to be out of the race and Ruben Amaro wants to deal off pieces. So if they were out of the race and wanted to deal off pieces, presumably Papelbon would be one of those guys.
Well, he's a guy that has pitched in the postseason too.
But then the next question is, would anybody be interested in Papelbon at the price of his contract? He signed a 4-year, $50 million deal before last year. He's in the 2nd season.
There's 2 more years left of that.
Right.
Well, it would be a big market team, right, that would need that kind of arm.
Fly ball, deep right center field. Back goes Mayberry to the warning track. Back at the wall, he makes the catch right as he hits the fence. Nicely done by Mayberry to take the jolt from the bullpen fence and hang on. One long out off the bat of David Wright.
Kiss it goodbye in the old Shea, but it stays here at the inside the 390 mark, and really a fine play by John Mayberry.
But at the old city, it's a can of corn.
That's right. That's right.
Glove hit that padded pillar right as the ball arrived, and he handled it with aplomb. There's Bird, who's 2 for 3 today, including a first-inning home run. The Mets had not hit back-to-back home runs all season until Wright and Bird went back-to-back with 2 out of the first inning against Cliff Lee. That got Matt Harvey the early lead, and Matt never wavered. Papelbon has had himself a terrific career. First 7 years in Boston, and then the last 2 here in Philadelphia. Rollins behind the bag, throws out Bird, 2 out.
There aren't many highlights of that one season, but that Omir Santos game against Papelbon at Fenway Park, I'll remember that until the day I die. It was just one of those games that was incredibly special in a season with not many special moments.
It was 2 out of the top of the 9th. The Mets went from behind to in front on Santos's home run that had to undergo review.
Which is apropos for today's game.
Right at the top of the monster in left field. And then the Mets had to survive the bottom of the 9th, in which the Red Sox rallied. And the moment I remember more than any other was Wright made a sterling play and got a forced play at second, and Castillo stayed on the bag, and it was a close play and a questionable play. It was the right call, but Papelbon storming out of the dugout to protest after he had just given it up in the top of the inning.
And I remember Keith and I both in unison said, "Go sit down, Pap, come on." And the journeyman shortstop making the diving play to end the ball game.
Paul Martinez.
Yeah.
He was like the Mets' 9th string shortstop at that point.
That's right.
Josh Satin 1 for 3 on the day, leaving for the pinch hitter Davis. So like getting the pinch hitting assignment. He threw a walk as a pinch hitter yesterday. And I take strike 3 call, and Papelbon has himself a 1-2-3 inning. That sends us off to the 9th. Mets trying to win the rubber game of the series, up 5-0. Chevrolet dealer. Come in and drive away in your favorite Chevrolet today. Coming this fall to Pix 11, the legend returns to late night. Arsenio Hall is back, and he's bringing the party with him. Don't miss the Arsenio Hall show. Weeknights at 11 starting September 9th right here on Pix 11. Mike Davis stays in the game at first base as we go to the 9th inning. And Scott Atchison will stay in for a second inning of relief to face Chase Utley. Utley's been on base twice today, hit by a pitch, and had the first hit against Matt Harvey, a single with 1 out in the 4th. Harvey only gave up 3 hits in 7 innings. And Utley takes a strike from Atchison. Dominic Brown on deck, and then Delman Young. Phillies had won 7 straight games at Citi Field until the Mets beat them yesterday. And now try to take the series, and in the process send the Phillies back under 500 for the season. Philly came in here on a roll. They had won 9 of 13 when the series began. They will be heading to St. Louis and Detroit for the next week, which will perhaps be a telling week for the trajectory of the Phillies season from here.
It's early, but St. Louis is winning again. They're 7-3 in their last 10 games.
Maybe when they get to Detroit, they can showcase Jonathan Papelbon for the Tigers.
Yeah, when you think about it, Benoit has been closing for that ball club. They brought back Papa Grande, Jose Valverde, for a short time. That didn't work out. They think Bruce Rondon at some point is going to be their closer.
He was the guy in spring training they thought was going to win the job, but he did not. Swing and a miss, and Atchison strikes out Utley for the first out of the night. First strikeout for Atchison in relief.
Just a fastball upstairs, little cutter that gets by Utley. You know, Gary, the guy to watch over in Detroit in the upcoming years is a guy named Smiley. Left-handed reliever now for Detroit, but he's going to be a starter at some point.
Drew Smiley. Here's Dominic Brown, who's in danger of the golden sombrero. He has struck out all 3 of his at-bats today. Well, the Tigers, very much like last year, are kind of plodding along. They're clearly the most dominant team in their division. Their offense has the potential to be dominant. They've got Justin Verlander at the head of a talented rotation, although he's not pitching great. But they're only 8 games over 500. It almost seems like last year. Now, last year they weren't in first place for much of the year till the last 3 weeks.
Yeah.
But they're not pulling away the way everybody expected they would last year and the way everybody expected they would this year.
And I think a lot of it has been their bullpen in the first 3 months.
Brown pops it up. Wright will come over for a look, but that's in the stands. 2-2.
They got a little Atlanta in them also. They're kind of a hit or miss team. Talking to Jim Leland about it, he said, listen, not anything fancy in our offense. We hit doubles and we hit the ball over the wall. If we don't do that, we don't win. And you know, they don't have really any team speed. Austin Jackson a little bit.
Well, Cabrera hit his 31st today. They're up 2-1 in Kansas City in the 6th inning.
Their catcher, Avila, hasn't found his all-star form. He's hit below 200.
Swing and a miss. Atchison with back-to-back strikeouts. And Dominic Brown walks away with the golden sombrero. 2 out.
Well, anything up in the strike zone, you have a chance to get Brown. He has a short uppercut swing. That's why he produces all those home runs. And tough day for Dominic.
So the Phillies are down to their final out. Delman Young comes up. Young doubled down the left field line his last time up. And pokes one foul, 0-1. Mets bidding for their 5th shutout victory of the season. Their last one was June 26th in Chicago when Sean Markham beat the White Sox. Line caught by Ike Davis, and the ball game is over. Behind 7 brilliant innings from Matt Harvey and a 3-home run attack, the Mets take the rubber game of the series from the Phillies and win their first home series since they took 2 from the Yankees.
Well, Harvey and home runs, that's what it was today. Matt Harvey with 10 punch-outs, no walks, over 7 innings of work, and Bird and Wright, and the big 3-run home run from the rookie Laris.
Well, Matt Harvey was right at the top of his game today. His 6th 10 strikeout performance of the season lowered his ERA to 2.23, 3rd in the National League. 10 more strikeouts to give him a league-leading 157. And the Harvey parade continues. Matt Harvey Day, a huge success on Dwight Gooden bobblehead day. Harvey was front and center again. The Mets got him an early lead. He was throwing bullets all afternoon, and he never faltered. And the Mets beat the Phillies 5-0. Today's game summary brought to you by Lexus. The Golden Opportunity Sales Event is here. Harvey had not won in his last 9 starts at Citi Field. That streak comes to an end today with his 8th victory of the season as the Mets get their 5th shutout win of the year. And the Phillies are shut out for the 8th time this season. Mets win it 5-0. More coming up from Citi Field in just a moment.